Hello, I'm back. Yeah, okay, it didn't work out. What I'm going to do with this show, I'm going to keep it kind of short. Sorry about the interruption. What happened is that, yeah, in the past when I did this show, I would download Amazon songs, but the things, in order to play on Spreaker, you have to put it in the Spreaker playlist, not play it separately, because I'll probably have that same problem if you call in, so you may not want to call in. May have to Skype. In the future, I'll set up a Skype address where you can Skype in, and that way you can be heard. So I'll have to do some research on how Spreaker works. I used to know Spreaker quite well, where unlike Blog Talk Radio, they don't have that, where they create their own phone numbers where people call in with a phone number. You have to, Spreaker, you can Skype in, but if you want to use the chat server, that'd be fine also. So I'll have to keep this show brief. A lot of people right now, the show's about homelessness. A lot of people right now are homeless, mostly because of bad credit. It really is not so much about rent and income. Because, yeah, it's usually they want a 3-to-1 ratio of income to rent. Reagan days, it was 3-to-2. So that's an issue. Of course, it's an issue for me. I make good money, $2,000 a month for Social Security, but even here in Austin, it's awfully expensive. Found a place where they rent one night at a time a bachelor's studio, which is pretty cool. The other place, I called them like 6 times and they were just booked all the time. Austin, we get a California element that comes here, either as homeless people or people with technical skills that in the second Silicon Valley that drive up the cost of real estate. Most one-bedroom apartments here are $1,200 a month. That's a lot by Texas standards. Most elsewhere in Texas, it's usually about $400 or $500 a month for a one-bedroom apartment. If you have bad credit, most people have bad credit because of no fault of their own. Because it's mostly these internet scam companies like AOL always using my credit card for things I didn't authorize. I have all these doctors I never heard of that claim I owe them. My sister screwed up my credit through an illegal conservatorship. I had a boss lay me off, and I couldn't verify I was laid off because they disappeared, so they wouldn't let me out a 1-year lease. So you've probably heard these stories before. They probably apply to you or someone you know. And as a result, you become homeless. You just like, what the hell you do? You can't afford a hotel. They're too expensive. When you have all the damage done by Barack Obama with high taxes, and Donald Trump made it worse with this trade war where he increased taxes, international taxes, you have a high misery index, high unemployment, high inflation, high interest rates, fewer loans for people with bad credits, lower wages, worse working conditions, lower benefits. Reagan just the opposite, because I remember the good old days, 1980s. And Donald Trump, he's no Ronald Reagan. He's a bad guy. He said, this economy's strong, so we don't need a tax cut. I think this guy is going to get tossed out next year. He's probably not a legitimate president. I think the Russians did fix the election. They fix elections all over the planet, including their own. In the case of Putin, this is a guy that probably did win the first election legitimately, but every election since then, he loses in landslide losses according to the exit polling, but somehow he gets reelected. So democracy doesn't work. But then again, leaders, I don't care if they're liberal or conservative, leadership is no good. Anarchy just means self-governance and privatization and Reaganomics. Stuff also known as supply-side economics. Put out fires before they start with all kinds of great ideas and technology. And it's on the way. It's going to happen, but at what rate? I'd like to speed it up through a tax revolt. And I know a lot of people, especially women, don't like guns, but if you carry guns everywhere as a deterrent, every crime statistic goes down, including death to gun violence, which is about the only way to prevent these mass shootings. If you're stupid enough to think that more government control is the answer, more gun control, more crime control, or you have the stupid idiot morons that think that psychotropic drugs are the answer, you're only going to make it worse. More control means less control. It's a Orwellian doublethink no matter what you do. But homelessness as a rule, yeah, in the old days, basically, like in Reagan days, unless you were severely mentally, physically ill, or a drug addict, these were about the only people that were homeless. Now it's people like me who are responsible, that simply can't find a place to live, but at least anything long term. The goal is, what I might do, if I could live in Austin, that would be great. I might stay indefinitely at this bachelor's studio I'm going to tomorrow. This is the first time I know something like that. I found it by looking for a motel, funny enough, at booking.com. So I'm going to continue, because I don't like the idea of moving around to motels or hotels. But eventually the goal is to either buy something, improve my credit where I can buy something where the things are nice and cheap north of Austin, or just hold on to dear life for what's, I think one other alternative is like a independent living center, because they can be quite cheap, but they haven't gotten back to me yet, so I don't know, because that's something else I was looking for. If you have to live in a tent, it's not that bad a thing. Break the Windchill Factor, but you get moved around a lot by the cops who harass you in violation of a court order that said you can't enforce vagrancy laws, but they do anyway. Maybe they do it for your own good because you have to worry about health factors like, freezing to death, which can happen to anybody. You go to sleep, you don't wake up if it's too cold, and you die. But I think inevitably what's going to happen is the turning around of the economy, people will go back to work or you privatize their benefits where they will do better. And then the rent-to-income ratio will go down to 3 to 2 and they'll be able to rent things. But you have to have international forgiveness of debt to make that happen. The bankers won't go for it. So some of us do advocate violence against public officials to make that happen just to get noticed because some of us don't fear death or incarceration. They don't even have money to put people in jail anymore. Okay, so I'm going to wrap this up until I find a way. During this break, I'm going to find a way to download my songs, or I guess the word is upload them, to the Spreaker app. So the songs are on a different app. And we'll do a show in the future that'll be longer, where hopefully more people will call in or listen, even if you listen to it retroactively. Good music, good talk, but I love to have guests. So again, the show, what I'll try to do is target it for 7 o'clock tomorrow p.m. Central Standard Time. Try to do at least 10, 15 minutes, but eventually the goal is to do a 3-hour show. So this is Jim signing off. Thank you very much, and hope to have you call in sometime in the future. Thank you. Bye now.